Hello and welcome to another tutorial video. This one over a subject that we explored a little bit in class but didn't really have time to do proper justice. It's writing introductory paragraphs for the Q3 Argumentative essay, and really this technique works for most open-ended response types of essays, your Q3 Argumentative essay, your Q1 synthesis essay. This basic technique works the same for all of those. It's really difficult to use this sort of introduction on an analysis essay, so your Q2 you probably want to steer away from something like this, but we'll cover that in another time. So as we talked about in class today, the main key to writing a good introductory paragraph is avoiding jumping right into things. When you just plunge a reader right into the middle of a specific discussion, it's very disorienting. And so it's a good idea to first kind of back up and ask yourself, what is this subject really about? What is my discussion really about? And figure out a more general way to ease your reader into this discussion. Provide them with the context, the contextual framework that their brains need before they can join your discussion fully. And so I'm going to take you through just my thought process when composing an introductory paragraph on one of these Q3 timed essays. Now, my intro is not going to be perfect. I'm going to push myself for time here, but it will be solid. It will follow a definite progression that I hope you can use when composing your own Q3 argumentative essays. So here we have a sample prompt here, and this is a prompt that I just kind of lifted a debate off of a website, so I'm sure there's spelling errors and whatnot. I just kind of threw it into a Q3 format, but here we go. As our knowledge of surgical and diagnostic techniques has increased with time, so has the success rate of organ transplants. However, the number of patients who require organ transplants exceeds the number of organs available, particularly if the patient has a rare blood type or belongs to an ethnic minority where organ donations are even lower than normal. Okay, so we've identified a problem here. This is the general subject matter, talking about how organ donation programs don't always get everybody their organs. Okay, the sale of human organs offers a possible solution to this crippling shortage. Okay, so someone's proposed legalizing the sale of human organs. However, this is still plenty, there is still, whoops, that's a typo, there is still plenty of opposition to this idea. Obviously, it's ethically immoral, right? And the National Organ Transplantation Act of 1984 still prohibits the sale of human organs from both dead and living donors. All right, so we've identified the topic of our essay here. It's going to be, it's going to deal with the possible sale of human organs and the legalities of that. So in a well-written essay, develop a position on whether or not the United States should legalize the sale of human organs. Ooh, what a juicy ethical topic here. I can see both sides of this. I can see how, yes, the current method that we use for who gets organs and how we donate organs, it's difficult to get people to become organ donors. It takes quite a bit of advertising and convincing, and even after all that, there's still not enough organs being donated, which means that the people that need organ transplants, not as many of them get the organs that they need, and so the wait lists are long and painful. But here someone's proposed that why don't we just open it up to the free market, allow people to buy and sell human organs, and possibly just hand this over to businesses specializing in the trade of human organs. Now, I can definitely see some of the benefits, and it's good that I can see these benefits. I need to offer concessions in my argument. Yeah, the benefits are obvious. More people would get organs, particularly the wealthy. Wealthy people would, of course, be able to afford these. So it would at least increase the number of people in one particular tax bracket to getting those vital organs that they need. The other thing is it could actually benefit people in lower economic brackets who happen to have loved ones who have passed away with viable harvestable organs. They could make some money off of their deceased loved ones, which could help their economic status. Yeah, but you know where I'm going with this. At what cost? At what cost? While pragmatically, the practicality of this, I can see it working. It's the ethical cost is just way too high. And so I think I'm going to take a stand against this. My position is going to be that the United States should continue its ban on the sale of human organs. And I've actually already come up with a thesis statement that I want to use, and here it is. The U.S. must continue its ban on the sale of human organs in order to preserve the integrity of medicine and the healthcare system, as well as to prevent the exploitation of the indigent, meaning the very, very poor. And there's my thesis statement. But I can't just lead off an essay with my thesis statement. If I started an essay that way, it would confuse the heck out of my reader because it doesn't give my reader any context. It would be very disorienting. So I'm going to skip a few spaces. And I'm gonna work backwards to come up with a good way to start this essay off. And once I've started the essay off, all it takes then is just connecting the dots from point A to point F or G or H or whatever you come up with. So when you've got your established thesis down, ask yourself this question: what does my particular discussion boil down to? What does my topic really mean here? Well, I'm taking kind of an ethical stance against this. So I can kind of put that out there. What we're basically suggesting here is turning human organs into a tradable commodity. That sounds terrible. We're suggesting the privatization of organ transplant and collection. Is this really something that needs to be handed over to the private sector? I mean, right now, don't we? I mean, while our system sure has its flaws, I don't know if the flaws can really be fixed by handing it over to a private business. So I think I'm going to open up my paper just discussing the ethicality of privatizing various public institutions, this being one of them. So I might open up with something like this. In this age of economic recession and, of course, austerity measures all over Europe especially, in this age of economic recession and austerity measures, the word privatization is thrown around as part of virtually every plan intended to fix, I'm going to put that in quotation marks, to quote, fix failing public programs and institutions. Yeah. That's how I'm going to leave this off. Now that needs a little bit of explaining. Okay, right now I'm still kind of inside of my head. My reader probably doesn't quite know what I'm talking about, but this is still an engaging statement. My reader either kind of knows what I'm talking about and agrees with me, or maybe knows what I'm talking about and doesn't agree with me. That's even better, because people love to continue to read things that they don't agree with. Or my reader just wants to know more. So I need to explain myself. What exactly is being privatized these days that used to be either run by public institutions or governing bodies? So I'm just going to provide a list from healthcare to social welfare, things like I'm referring to Social Security and retirement, that sort of thing. Healthcare, social welfare, these things are being debated right now as to whether or not they should be privatized or socialized, controlled by the private sector, controlled by federal government. Here's an interesting one. From healthcare to social welfare, and even the military. There are a number of contract security workers in Iraq and Afghanistan that are basically privatized soldiers. Now, they're not used on the front lines, but they're used for maintaining security, security at various United States installations. So that's kind of the privatization of the military right there. So from healthcare to social welfare and even the military, many many third world countries don't have this particular problem. They got other problems. Many first world countries are facing pressure from citizens to shut down programs traditionally run by government agencies and public trusts, because not all these are run by the government. Some of them are just like nonprofits, and we can just call those public trusts and other public trusts. Public trust just meaning agencies, institutions, bodies in general that respond or that work, that's a good one, that work for the public good, okay? Public trusts. So they're under pressure to shut down programs traditionally run by government agencies and public trusts and hand these responsibilities over to, whoops, too many eyes, over to private businesses. So in that one sentence, I've given examples of what I'm talking about, and I've explained the concept of privatization, just in case my reader's not really familiar with it. I've just kind of provided a little exemplification and a little expansion as well here, okay? So what I need to do next is, now that I've kind of established and engaged the reader, and I'm starting to get into what my subject is, I need to continue expounding on my opening statement and get to some sort of establishing statement that clearly identifies what the subject of my discussion is. So let's try to define this debate here. I'll make a concession first. Proponents typically, meaning people who propose privatization, proponents typically argue that the private sector is more efficient at handling these duties, the duties of the public trusts organizations. But, and here's my contention, my refutation, but when it comes to public welfare and safety, when it comes to public welfare and safety, is efficiency really our primary concern? Yeah. Now I've included a little rhetorical question in there. This is an effective use of a rhetorical question. It's not a silly question. It's not going to turn off my reader from reading. It's just kind of a thought-provoking question. You know, these people who propose privatizing government and government and public programs often cite that private industry would be able to more efficiently handle those responsibilities. But is efficiency really our primary concern when it comes to the public trust, when it comes to the public good? I'm going to continue what I'm talking about. Let's try some negation, further negating the concession that I made here, further stating why shooting for things that are more efficient is not the way to go. And I'll do it with another rhetorical question. What about the sense of conscience and the obligation? What about that sense of conscience and the obligation to the public good, which are lost when public programs are surrendered? Nice loaded diction there. Are surrendered to the free market. What happens when we do this? When we hand over these institutions, which are supposed to look out for the public good, what happens to that sense of conscience, that obligation that they have when these programs are handed over and surrendered to the free market? I'm going to continue explaining what I mean. Unlike elected bodies and non-profit organizations, big business has no conscience. I'm going to use a little repetition here. Has no obligation to anything but the bottom line. Yeah, it's bottom line. It's profit margin. The free market cares about nothing but being as efficiently profitable as possible. And in the case of the public good, that's not always the best thing. Um, yeah, unlike that, has no obligations to anything but the bottom line. I need to clarify my point, which makes big business, which makes it an unfit benefactor for benefactor of the public. Yeah, benefactor of the public. Benefactor being one who gives benefits to another. One who yeah, a generous provider. A provider. There we go. That's good. It's a synonym for benefactor. Sponsor, patron, that sort of thing. Cool. Now I'm going to transition into, so I've established what my subject is here. My subject is is privatization and I don't want to say evils of, but the wrongs of unnecessary privatization, in that privatization in and of itself is not always the absolute solution. So now I need to start transitioning. Remember my papers on the privatization the privatization of human organs. So I need to start transitioning into that. So I need to start transitioning into my own abhorrence toward this. So how about this? A sense of ethics is necessary. Transitioning from my previous statement, a sense of ethics is necessary, especially, here's my transition towards my thesis, especially in deciding matters of public health and wellness. Do you see? Now you see where I'm going? I'm transitioning this general discussion about privatization of public institutions into a discussion about public health and wellness specifically, which is going to get me down here to human organs. In deciding matters of public health and wellness, which is why the proposal made by some to privatize the harvest. Oh, that's some good loaded diction right there. It's not just the collection, it's the harvest and distribution of human organs is abhorrent. All right, I've identified my specific topic of discussion. I moved from just a general engaging statement to identifying this this general debate between privatization and socialization. Then I've transitioned further into a specific topic dealing with the privatization of public health and wellness and how I find specifically the harvest and distribution of human organs to be abhorrent. Now I just need a couple of transition statements to get me to my specific thesis. I'm going to do another concession here. Can't have too many of those. Granted, such a move would eliminate, there we go, would eliminate much of the desperate need for organ donation. Oh yeah, people would be lining up, down the block to sell their, recently deceased uncle's liver if it's in good condition, or their, it might take some of the financial sting out of, a surprise, someone who dies unexpectedly. But yeah, it would eliminate much of the desperate need for organ donation, and end the painfully long waiting list, transplant waiting list. But at what cost? That's one of my favorite phrases on these essays. But at what cost? Yeah, at what cost? We're sacrificing kind of a part of our humanity here. Some more rhetorical questioning. Is our society willing to allow the human body to become a tradable commodity? Oh, that'll get the readers going right there. I've expressed kind of the argument here in very undesirable terms. I'm not quite making a straw man fallacy here. I'm just using some very loaded terminology to kind of get my point across. Is our society willing to allow the human body to become a tradable commodity? The U.S. must continue its ban. That works fine. The U.S. must continue its ban on the sale of human organs in order to preserve the integrity of medicine and the healthcare system, as well as to prevent the exploitation of the indigent. There we go. That is a long example of a body paragraph. Put to the test, this would probably take, this process, this sort of lengthy body paragraph, that's going to take you 8 or 9 minutes on the timed essay. A little bit long, but then again, the intro paragraph always takes longer because you don't plan the intro. You're just kind of putting it together step by step. Your body paragraph should go much quicker because you actually have them planned out. So I hope this helps. Hope this helped to kind of take you inside, the brain of someone that's been doing this for a long time. Just kind of recap. Always start with an engaging statement. Okay, here's kind of my engaging statement, and then just expound on that engaging statement, explain it in some way as you transition into the establishment of a general topic, a general subject that you're dealing with, which is what I've done here. I've decided that, I've established that my essay is about the privatization of, or the wrongs of privatizing public matters. And then I've kind of transitioned into what the specific debate here is. How, because businesses have no obligation to anything but their bottom line, the privatization of public health and wellness matters is abhorrent, especially when it comes to the harvesting and distribution of human organs. And then I just transition towards my thesis, which directly addresses the prompt. The U.S. must continue its ban on the sale of human organs. Okay? So I hope this has helped. Please stay tuned for more videos on composing the Q3 Argumentative essay. I believe next video I think I'm going to tackle writing a whole Q3 in real time, maybe without commentary, just so you can see kind of how someone who has done this a bunch of times approaches it. Thanks for watching. Hope this has helped.